Hi, and thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. You know, about a year ago, Hurricane Matthew came through and dropped a tree right in the room where I'm standing and destroyed my voiceover studio. So hang out, and I'm going to show you how to build a dream studio on a budget. One of the things that people are asking me about is this light bar up here and what it does. Well, this is a phone bar, and it's just a plain old bathroom vanity that I got from Habitat for Humanity. I got it for a couple of bucks, and I separated all the fixtures inside of that bar so that I can tie them back to phone flashers. So anytime a phone rings, we've got 4 lines here because we do a podcast out of this studio, or we will be doing a podcast out of this studio. So each one of those fixtures is now separate, and there's a phone flasher over here on the table for each line. And I'm going to show you how we hook those up and what they do. Okay, so to operate those light bulbs in the bar up top, each one of those fixtures is wired down to one of these regular, 2-prong power outlets, which plugs into these telephone flashers. Now, what these are made for is hearing impaired people, where they can flash a table lamp or it has a loud ringer inside. So what I've done is I have screwed the switches into position so the ringer is off and the lamp flasher is on. And I screwed them down so you can't change it. But the thing is, I got 4 of them. And I don't really want to take up 4 power outlets just to run these little low current devices. So what I've got is I've got a block, and I'm going to share 1 power cord among all 4 of these devices. And the way that we're going to do this is there's a bridge right here. Now, we're going to have to cut this bridge in half, and 4 of them are going to be on the neutral side and the other 4 are going to be on the hot side. And it does matter on these because these do have polarized plugs. But the big thing is that you have to remember is that you've got to separate the 2 sides. So I'm going to screw these down tight first, these lugs on this side, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut those bars, cut that bar so that that doesn't contact the other side and short it out. Because you don't want to short nothing out. You don't want no magic smoke. So I'm tightening down these lugs. And I got these terminal strips on Amazon. Because if Amazon don't have it, you don't need it. Now that one's going to give me some trouble. That one's cross-threaded, I think. So let's back it out. Start it over again. Yeah. See, off-camera me would have just forced it to the point where I'd have gotten the impact gun after it if I needed to. Now we're going to take our cutters. We're going to separate the left 4 from the right 4. And you should probably put some kind of tape over that. And we'll take care of that. Finally, we'll do the other side, because we don't want nobody getting shocked up under this thing. Even though this is going to wind up in a cabinet, and nobody's probably ever going to see it again until the next natural disaster, when there won't be no power on it, no way. All right, so here's what we got. We got 2 terminal barrier strips that cover these 4 and these 4. Now, it matters which way these go because these plugs are polarized. All right, let me see if I can print some tape out of this thing without printing any letters on it. How about that? So what I'll do is I'll mark these by taking a piece of label gun tape and marking my neutral from my hot. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. There we go. There. Now we know which is which. All right, now, like I said before, these are polarized, meaning that this has a wide blade and a narrow blade. And we want to keep those going the way they're supposed to be. So in our case, if you feel the wire, one side of this wire is ribbed and the other side is smooth. In this case, the ribbed wire is the neutral, which is the wide blade. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off right here. Set that over there. You never know when you might want a power cord for something, right? You zip it apart, and we're going to strip each piece. All you probably need is about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to use, for the hot, a blue wire. Now remember, our ribbed one is neutral. So the hot wire will be on this side. But, because I'm kind of geeky, I want to heat shrink this when it's done. So I'm going to cut myself off a little piece of heat shrink. Slide it down over. Which one's the... That's the hot. So we'll slide the heat shrink on there. And we're going to use blue for the hot side since it's closest to black. Right? And then I've got my fancy schmancy Wheatstone issue strippers, crimpers. So there's that. And then I'll put the heat shrink over top. And I got this really great tool. Got it from a vape shop. Not sure why they have these torches. Little crack lighters they call them. Looks like a little torch. But these are great for this heat shrink. There. Now you're all protected up. Life's good, right? So now we'll take the other piece of heat shrink and we'll stick it on the other side. This is going to be the neutral side, remember? And in this instance, neutral is going to wind up, and we had more wire than we really needed last time, so I'm going to trim some of that off. And this time we're going to use red for the neutral. And I just got these little crimp-on terminals from over on Amazon. Because again, if Amazon don't have it, you don't need it. All right. And then we'll run the heat shrink up onto that. We'll take the crack lighter to it. There you go. So there's your first one. So remember, it matters. So the hot one is going to be blue, right? And the neutral is going to be red. I probably could have shortened these down a little bit. You know what I'll do is I'll scoot this over to the end so I can make this a little bit neater. So, blue for hot. Let's make it real neat and go underneath everything here. Blue is hot. Now, in this video series, you're going to find out that I have ADHD and I forget where I put everything. So, I'm just going to go ahead and let you in on that one now. All right, and then white and red are neutral. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one over here. So there you go, number one. Number one's completed. I don't think my white label's going to stay put. What do you think? I think it's going to come off and just be a general pain. So I'm going to trim that. Let me see if I can just pull this off and seat it right up against the... Oh, it sticks to the black tape. Great. Thanks for that. Go ahead and seat it right up there. Use it for a little extra layer of protection. All right, so that's one. I think I made it a little too long. So this one I'll do a little shorter. And you know, because I have ADHD and I also have OCD, I'm likely to go back and fix that first one and shorten it down. Give them a little strip. There you go. We're going to take our heat shrink. Try to chop it about in half. You don't really need the whole piece of tubing for that. So, one. And this one's smooth, so it's hot, right? Smooth one's hot. The ribbed one is the neutral. So, fancy Wheatstone crimper. Now, the last time I installed an R60 console with this fancy Wheatstone stripper, my hand hurt for 3 weeks. This time they gave me a better stripper and crimper, and I hope that it's improved over the last one. But that's coming up on an upcoming video too. We're going to install a R60 air console from Wheatstone. I know a lot of you are saying an R60, I mean, that's kind of an outdated console. Why would you be installing that? Well, I don't like the R55E. It has problems, and I would much rather have the R60. And since that's what I had in the studio that was destroyed by the storm, they rebuilt it for me for like $5 grand. So I've got a brand new R60 on-air console, or as close as I'm going to get to a brand new one, for $5 grand. And while I don't like those little amp connectors or Molex connectors or whatever they are, they work well. Once you have them working, they don't give you any trouble. So it is what it is, as so many have said. Yeah, I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to have to fix that short wire, that long wire, because that's going to drive me nuts. So keep the hot side hot and the neutral side neutral. And I'm probably slouching and sliding off camera, and I apologize for that. My teenager suggested that I start a YouTube channel. I suggested that I'm too old. She said, no, Dad. Everybody who's anybody has a YouTube channel. So there you go. All right, there's two. And I guess we'll just high speed through the next two. How about that? Alright, so we got all of our wires hooked up to the terminal blocks. Yes, I went back and shortened the wires and made them all nice. Now what we got to do is mount this block down. This is really kind of a cool thing they did here because this is a plastic cover that goes over it, so you can't touch the strips. It just fits in there. But it's also the same hole that the screw utilizes to mount it down to the board. So I'm going to take a couple of these little short wood screws here and give them a little twist in there. And then we're going to take one of the cords that we cut off, one of the power cords that we cut off, and we're going to make a power cord out of it. So right. Remember, your neutral wire is the ribbed one. And in this scheme we were using reds for the neutral. And if you don't have a good set of crimpers, do yourself a favor. Get a good set of crimpers. Makes life a whole lot easier. All right. Well, looks like we're ready to hook our power cord up, and you can go down here to any of these on the barrier strip below. So I'm just going to go on the inside too. Just like that. And that, tighten it down. Now the problem is with this particular block, these are cheap and very easy to break. In fact, I actually had to stop and replace the block and put a new one in. So there you go. But you get what you pay for. So then this little plastic jobby goes over top, and in theory you can't touch it. Now, I'm going to get out the label gun. So that if there was any question what was in this block, anybody that ever goes in this cabinet, which will only ever be me, will see that this is a 120 volt AC connection. Because with all the wires that we're going to run, you might not remember what was what. And then to tie this up and make this all nice and pretty, I guess we'll get a zip tie and tie it up over here. Of course, that wire's not really thick enough to be captured by that, but it'll keep it from dangling anyways. And that is all you got to do. So there you go. I'm not worried about the load on this because they're low current LED bulbs in the bar up above, and I don't know if you noticed up here, but this is an Obi-Hi unit that you get off of Amazon where you use a Google Voice number with it. There will be 2 of those. That's line 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is actually in use in the other room. And so they will tie into these, and then these will go out to the phone system. So next time we'll install the ZAP 800s and TH2s, which are the Gentner telecommunications equipment. And the cool part about that is that you can get that stuff for cheap. Digital hybrids for your phone, and the ZAP 800 is a 12-in, 12-out digital matrix audio mixer, which has built-in compressors, limiters, gates, EQs, anything you could possibly want. And you can get them for like cheap off eBay, like $30. I paid $30 a piece for mine. And they work great. And you can program them with your computer and set it all up the way you want it. That is going to be next time. So thanks for checking out the video about the phone flashers, and we'll get the studio put together. All right, thanks so much. See you next time.